John, commiserations on the result tonight. Obviously a disappointing one for the context of your season. What did you make of the whole 90 minutes from your side?
I thought that the first 60 minutes we were the better team. We won the ball in great areas. We didn't punish them enough. That was probably the only thing that we could, if we're going to be disappointed about anything. And, we could have defended the first goal better. And Youngie even says with the second goal that, normally he saves that. And then after that, they got on top of us because we had to change. We had to change the shape a little bit and start to try and, take the game in a different a way that we have been playing. We put three at the back and then start to move players around. But before that, we felt that we were on top. They had a lot of the ball, but in areas that weren't hurting us. I don't think they had, other than the goal in the first half and one set piece, I don't think they had anything. That's unlike City, but that's credit to us.
With the result tonight and goal difference being the way it is, looks like finals won't be happening for your side this season. What was the mood in the dressing room as you came back in and amongst the boys?
No, definitely everyone's down because, we know that we've got a team and a squad that should be in finals. But, a lot of things went against us this year. There's something that we have to review at the end of the season after the Perth game that we had so many injuries, just so many, from start to finish. So we have to have a look why and try and improve that side. And because, how many times we had to change our back four, how many times we had to change our midfielders. Again today, Tongo got injured in the warm-up. So we just have to have a look and review that because, they had a couple of players out, but we had majority of our midfield out. And I thought that the two in the midfield were very good, won a lot of balls. And we were good. So I think that we'll reflect and we'll look at it and we'll go again next season.
Obviously, there's only one game left in the season, so it's not like a case of you can get a good look at the youngsters and all of that sort of stuff. But what's your immediate thoughts about how you approach next week? Do you give the kids a run? Is it sort of like a last hurrah for some of the boys? What are you thinking?
Did you see what we had on the bench? They were all old. We had no kids.
Oh, your academy team's top of the NPL too.
Yeah. We had no kids to give a run. I thought Seba was very good, Pasquale. And Noah, it hasn't started the last couple of games, but Noah's, been great for us this year in his first, season that he's played quite a bit of football. Dylan Price was again very good tonight. They're the younger players that we have available. The other players are injured, so the other younger ones. So it's a bit hard. We'll have a look and see who we play next week and see what we do for our last game.
Seb, one of those ones you'll be able to hang on to for next season. He's obviously had such a rough run with injuries, I think, ever since he came back to Australia, really. Yeah.
Look, I have to give Seba so much credit because he's had such a torrid time with his injuries that he virtually hasn't played for 2.5 years. But from the start of this pre-season, he's just been making sure he does everything right, and that's preparing well for training, preparing well. When he does train, going home, doing all the right things, and he deserved to play. It's taken him a while, but he's never put his head down. He's kept on working, and that shows the character of the kid. And I thought he was good.
You mentioned obviously you're going to have to review, and you don't obviously want to say things off the cuff, but do you anticipate a rebuild or a refresh of your squad? You have obviously some guys like Prijovic and Lacroix who are off contract, and you've got to mention some young players.
Prijovic is still on contract.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a look at the others. Topper's retired, obviously, so we'll have a look. There'll be changes, of course, because there's a few players that are off contract and that are retired or mentioned that they are thinking about it. So there'll be some players that will end up leaving, and then will be players that will be coming in.
Does it feel like rejuvenation is maybe something that your squad needs? Or
yeah, the Rami Nazarene, once we get him right, that's a new signing for us because he's only played 15 minutes for us. Then there'll be a few different players that we'll bring in, but look, the core base of the squad's good. You look at our back four. I know that Topper's retiring, but the other three in the back four, who were exceptional most of the night, they're still here, and then we'll see with the rest. But they've been good.
Just not to talk too much about the opposition, but you know Jamie McLaren very well. You coached him. He's just set the league record. What is it about Jamie McLaren?
It's about he wasn't involved in the game all night and scored a hat-trick. That's the type of player he is. He's a great striker. He didn't have too many sniffs of the ball when he scored 3 goals. So that's a sign of a record holder. He's always alive in the box. We make a mistake on the first goal, but he's there, hits him in the leg. He's there. The second goal, it comes to him and he's there. It's not a great shot, but it's on target. So that's a sign of a great striker, and congratulations to him. He's done really well. There was a pleasure working with him, and it's unfortunate we're on the receiving end, but we know what type of striker he is.
Do you think Jamie gets more respect from his peers than maybe the public because his peers, such as yourself, recognise the skill and the talent that's needed to be in those positions constantly, that you can score a hat-trick without being involved in the game, and people like yourself recognise that?
Probably. Look, I'm not sure what the general public think of him, because I don't really know that side of things. But in terms of having coached him and coaching against him, he's always alive in the box. And as a striker, you always get heavily criticised when if he plays like that and doesn't score, everyone says he was poor. But his movement's still good. He's still alive in those areas. Doesn't mean that he's had a poor game, just that he's not involved. That's something that Jamie's got, and he's had it for a long time.
Just you coached him when he was a lot younger before he went away and came back. Did you see him as that sort of player that could do something like this, like break a record, do something?
Yeah, because he was scoring 20 goals for me up in Brisbane. So he scored 40 goals in 2 seasons. So I definitely could see it. And we had a pretty young side. We had Brandon Borello with him, Dimi Petratus with him, and he was still scoring 20 goals. Now you've got Lecky, you've got Van der Veen, you've got Naboo, you've got all these experienced players around him that will help him, because they create a lot of chances.
John, I know there's 1 week in the season left, but we won't be in Perth to ask this, so I'll just ask. You've touched on maybe the injuries as one, but what have you learnt this season as a coach? Obviously, coming in as a title defending side, hasn't gone the way you've planned. What have you learnt as a coach that you can apply in the years ahead?
Learned that we have to get pre-season right. If we get pre-season right, we'll have a good year. Our pre-season, for whatever reasons, didn't go exactly the way we would have liked it to go. And then the season starts very slow, so we only have 1 point from the first 5 games. Then you're always playing catch-up, and so the confidence can drop a little bit. And that might have something to do with the amount of players that we've had to, they've been injured. So that we'll make sure in the off-season that we review that, and we look forward to having a good pre-season.
Just any injuries come out tonight?
Tongo Dumbia.
Sorry, apart from in the warm-up.
Alex got a knock on his ribs, so not sure how bad that is. And then his groin, he was holding his groin a little bit. Then Connor Payne has got a pretty bad gash from the challenge from Nuno Reis on the sideline. But other than that, it's pretty good. And Lockie Wales got a bit of whiplash from when he got thrown on the floor after the first goal. Goal.
The scuffle.
Yeah, from when their player ran and threw him on the floor. Yeah, but he'll be okay.